Though this parade served as somewhat of a bookend for the events we held in June 2025 for Mass 250, this promenade through the streets is just the beginning of a commemoration and celebration that will last throughout 2026. To that end, we asked historians and public servants in attendance about ways they'd recommend people engage with their history after the parade. Links to places and experiences are below in the description. In this video, we start with the parade lineup, followed by a montage of the procession, and then finish up with remarks from Governor Maura Healey and other guests. This and other Museum of Old Newbury Rev 250 events and content have been made possible in part by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism as a part of their Mass 250 campaign. We are very grateful to be one of the communities chosen to tell our revolutionary story.
Yeah, grab a flag.
Yeah, I will in a little bit. I'm on the hunt for the governor and Congressman Lowell.
You know, it's Newburyport, so I'm coming home. This is where my family's been and lived ever since 1636. So, you know, today it's just so amazing, the great people in Newburyport and all who've come out from the museum, the Customs House, and all around, everybody who participated. This is about celebrating 250 years. America started right here in Massachusetts, and the people in Newburyport stepped up in that time and helped give birth to this great country of ours. So it's about celebrating freedom and independence and liberty, and I was just really pumped to be able to come and celebrate with all the good people. And we'll be celebrating all year long.
After the parade, how would you recommend people experience their history and live their history and learn about their history?
I think the first thing is pop by the museum and learn about our ancestors, learn about this region, learn about what people did over the last 250 years. That's one thing. Get educated and learn about all of that and take that in, because, you know, at the end of the day, what people stood up for 250 years ago, freedom, liberty, democracy, you know, it wasn't a given, and those people came together, they worked together, they made it happen. And I think there's a lot of lessons in that today, as we need to continue to find ways to work together and build on this great country of ours.
Steve, you're following Betsy Ross.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
Custom House Maritime Museum and behind Lexington. Look for Glee Woodward. Over.
I'm Glee Woodworth, and I'll be the town crier. I'll be talking about 15 locations and hoping that the VIPs and elected officials and some of the people in the crowd will learn a little bit more about Newburyport's role in the American Revolution, because we were very involved with the goings-on from the 1750s and through independence.
After the parade, how do you think people can continue to keep connecting with their history?
We have about over 20 history events during Yankee homecoming that I've helped organize, and check out the Newburyport 250th anniversary website and the museum website of Old Newbury and the Custom House, because we'll have events continuing all through the year.
What's one or two of your favorite call-out locations that we'll see along the route today?
The Old South Church. This was the departure point for Colonel Benedict Arnold and over 1,000 soldiers on the ill-fated capture of Quebec in 1775. And also we'll walk by Captain Abraham Wheelwright's home, who crossed the Delaware with General George Washington to help capture over 1,000 Hessian soldiers in 1776. Old Hill Burying Ground, there are over 50 veterans of the American Revolution final resting place, and also ancestors of Governor Maura Healey, Bethany Groff Doro, and more Glee Woodworth.
Looking good, guys.
Thanks. Where's your costume?
I got a whistle if you need it.
He is his name, and he's on stilts.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm Edward Speck, representing Theater in the Open at approximately 9 feet tall. And Theater in the Open loves constitutional democracy. They actually specifically wouldn't tell me how long it would be, because I said I would probably not do it. Now I know how long it is. I don't think I'm going to go to the tannery and get a coffee. Mr. Mayor. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hi, I'm Sean Reardon. I'm Mayor of Newburyport. We're on Federal Street here in Newburyport, just about to kick off the Road to Revolution parade today. We love a parade here in Newburyport. I think Rev 250 is such an amazing thing to celebrate. 250 years since 1775. The governor's here. I see Congressman Seth Moulton getting here, so it's going to be a great day here in Newburyport. A little sprinkle of rain, but we're going to have a good time.
How would you encourage people to, after the parade, engage with their history?
Well, so I grew up here, so I mean, I'm a lover of history because I grew up here in Newburyport. So I would say if you're new to Newburyport or you're new to the area, there's so much rich history around us. Get out there, learn as much as you can. We have the Custom House Museum, we have the Museum of Old Newbury. We have so many resources here in Newburyport. Just get out there, and it's a great year to learn everything about the history of Newburyport.
We're the Lexington Minute Men from Lexington, Mass., and we just enjoyed the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Lexington. And so we just did Bunker Hill last week in Gloucester, 250th, and we're glad to be here.
What is it like to live the history in costume?
In kit, well, it's very it's different for every man. So some guys over the years, we all portray a character that was actually on the Lexington Green. So many of us have had our characters, in my case, for 35 years. And we get to know them intimately as far as their family, their children, what they did after the war, what they did during the war. You really, on the morning of the Battle of Lexington, you really can live him, and live his experience.
How would you recommend just normal people engage with history after the parade's over?
Well, I think they should, obviously get online and look up various events that might be coming up. You have to remember that for the next few years, there'll be a lot of the 250th battles. So the next one coming up will be in December. Won't be a battle, but it'll be the cannon at Ticonderoga being brought down to Boston. And next year, of course, is the 250th of the Declaration of Independence. So they should keep their eye out for all these 250 events, because they're going to be heavily attended by reenactors, and they'll be well done because they're going to be on display.
My name is John Nichols, and I am the director of the Middlesex County Volunteers Fifes and Drums. We've been around for over 40 years, and we're a collective of musicians and historians from all around eastern New England. We've been participating in a lot of the 250th anniversary celebrations, and it's such a great time to celebrate the history of the United States and the birth of our country. So it's really neat, and specifically here in New England where it really started.
After the parade, how would you recommend people engage with their history, their local history?
You can start with your local history museums or your local historical society. That's a great place to start. Even just learning about your own neighborhood, your own town is a wonderful place. From there, finding out history about your region. The state has a wonderful resource at the Commonwealth Museum in by the JFK Library. So there's wonderful resources built in right here in Massachusetts.
Again, good morning. I'm Bob Cronin, President of the Custom House Maritime Museum. The Custom House is proudly co-sponsoring this event with the Museum of Old Newbury and the City of Newburyport. A special thank you to the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism, Director Kate Fox, Rev 250, Sheila Green, and of course, Governor Healey. Thank you for the grants for this parade and the Road to Revolution series that was hosted by the Museum of Old Newbury. I would be totally remiss if I did not thank the Custom House Executive Director James Russell, Director Tom Coleman, and the board for assisting in putting this event together. "250 years ago, news was spread by alert riders, like you saw riding actually through Market Square here. These riders brought news of the British incursion into Salem, now called Leslie's Retreat, in February 1775, and the fighting at Lexington and Concord. Local men responded to those calls, as well as to Boston and Bunker Hill, where many never returned. On June 15th, George Washington was named commander of the Continental Army. This news would have taken about 2 weeks to arrive. 200 years ago today, this news might likely have been delivered to a meeting house or to a central location like this bullnose. From those alerts, Newburyport unleashed a force of privateers against the British Royal Navy, and 22 of those ships never returned, with an estimated 1,000 souls who were lost at sea. Today we honor the war dead at battlefield sites throughout the country, but not for these young lads and sailors like them that found a watery, unmarked grave. But through their tenacity and bravery, today we stand as free and independent nation. As such, I would now like to introduce the Mayor of Newburyport, Mayor Sean Reardon. Mayor Reardon has been a frequent visitor to the Custom House, and I actually think he's the first sitting mayor to steer a tall ship up the Merrimack River. Mayor Reardon.
Thank you, Captain Bob. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. That's a good staff. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful but wet day here in Newburyport. I don't think we can ever have a bad day in Newburyport. So it's just a tremendous honor to welcome you all here today for this special event, the Road to the Revolution Parade, part of our Commonwealth's Rev 250 celebration, marking the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. I want to begin by welcoming and thanking Governor Maura Healey for joining us here today. Governor, your presence helps underscore just how important this moment is, not just for Newburyport, but for our entire state, as we reflect and honor our legacy and shared history. Thank you, Governor Healey. I also want to thank Congressman Seth Moulton. I want to thank Senator Bruce Tarr and Representative Don Shan, as well as our wonderful City Council for being here today. Congressman Moulton was instrumental in helping us secure the funding for our waterfront bulkhead project last year that we finished, so thank you all for being here today. Newburyport played a vital role in the American Revolution. This city, built on shipbuilding, trade, and fierce independence, was home to merchants, sailors, ship captains, and everyday citizens who stood up for liberty and self-governance. We raised privateers, sent men to battle, and lent our voices and our ships to the cause of American freedom. Our waterfront was more than a hub of commerce. It was a launch pad for revolution. As we gather today in celebration, we not only look back with pride, we also look forward with purpose. The ideals that shaped the revolution, freedom, justice, community, are the very values that continue to guide us as a city and a commonwealth. This parade is a reminder that history lives on, not just in books or buildings, but in the spirit of our people, the pride in our schools, and the energy of our neighborhoods. We celebrate today not just to remember, but to reaffirm who we are and where we're going. Thank you to all the organizers, volunteers, and participants who made today possible. Thank you to our local historical societies, our students and families, our community leaders, and everyone who helped bring our history to life right here on the streets of Newburyport. And once again, thank you, Governor Healey, for being part of this remarkable day. Long live the spirit of 1775. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It is now my privilege to introduce the Governor of Massachusetts. Governor Maura Healey has deep local roots in Newburyport. The governor is a descendant of the first settlers of Newbury and his family throughout the greater Newburyport area. With that distinction, Governor Healey has quite an extended family marching in this parade, some actually on stage. Governor Healey, welcome home.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Newburyport. Good morning, Newbury. Good morning, Amesbury. Good morning, Salisbury, even, right? Some people cross over. Listen, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Bob Cronin, for your leadership today. Doesn't he look fantastic? Unbelievable. Thank you, Mayor Reardon, for welcoming me home today. It's great to be here with you. Great to be here with Congressman Moulton, Senator Tarr, Representative Sham, the members of the City Council, and this vibrant Newburyport community. You know, we're here today to celebrate a truly historic moment for our country. Understand, this whole country, we live in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And it started right here in Massachusetts. From a bridge in Concord to a green in Lexington, some activity that took place in Boston Harbor, and of course, all the stuff, the powerful stuff that happened right here where we are. Take that in. You know, we'll be celebrating this great country all over the United States for the next year and a half, couple years. But there's no place in America that gets to celebrate it like Massachusetts. That's awesome. So this is a milestone, and it's not just a celebration of our independence, but it's really an affirmation of our values: freedom, liberty, representation, resilience, the spirit of innovation. And as we look back on these last 250 years, we're reminded that this is the place, and Newburyport right here, the place where the seeds of democratic values took root and where the fight for independence began. That's pretty cool. As Bob said, I'm pretty familiar with these parts. My ancestors, shout out to the sons and daughters of the first settlers in Newbury, landed on the Parker River in 1636. We've had family here ever since. And I can tell you, I understand Newburyport's pivotal role in our revolution. Our port, right here, representing the heart of trade and commerce and naval operations. The waterfront today remains a testament to the resilient legacy of our maritime heritage. But in the earliest days, it was about those privateers who set out, just like it was farmers and tradesmen who took to the green in Lexington and on the hill in Concord and in Charlestown as well, right? People who just came together. They were trained, sort of, not really, but they had a lot of courage. They had a lot of courage, and they had a purpose. They had a purpose and a mission. And that is something we call on today, we honor today, we celebrate today. They defended our communities, put their lives on the line, and launched this great nation. And of course, they didn't stop there. We haven't stopped for 250 years. Those events defined a revolutionary spirit that we embody today. Because at every moment of our history, we have sent up the beacon and held the lantern, lighted the way for others. Newburyport, leading the abolitionist movement to resist and end slavery, right here in Newburyport. Leading the women's rights movement and universal suffrage, leading on civil rights, the right to education, the right to health care. Because at our best, in Massachusetts, we lead the charge. That legacy defines who we are. So shout out to everyone who's here. Awesome to see our members of the Coast Guard, Massachusetts, home to the birthplace of the Coast Guard, right here, right here. Also, birthplace of the United States Navy, the National Guard, and those Marines as well. It was George Washington that sent the first Marines forward right from Massachusetts. We got a proud history here in Massachusetts and a proud history right here in Newburyport. So let's celebrate and embrace the moment. Welcome to the folks from Fall River who made the distance and the travel here today. Great to see you as well. Thank you in particular to all the folks at the Customs House and Maritime Museum and the old Newbury Museum as well. You guys are incredible. Thank you. I wish many people should come and celebrate this wonderful place over the next 18 months especially. Spend a lot of money, help the local economy, and show off what is truly, truly special about Massachusetts and America. Let's be inspired, let's be energized, let's be motivated, and let's live up to the legacy of our ancestors and stand up for freedom today. Thank you. Happy to.
Thank you, Governor. Newburyport, as the Governor just said, is the birthplace of the United States Coast Guard, and that was formalized by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965. Newburyport is also a Coast Guard city and a host community to Station Merrimack River. The Colonial Navy of Massachusetts and Newburyport salute the Coast Guard with their hymn, Semper Paratus, always ready.
Newburyport. It's an honor to be here with so many distinguished people, most of all you, the citizens. But it's a tough act to follow, following Parker with his long lineage, following our governor whose family came here in 1636. Our family lore is that we didn't come until 1637, a bit north of here. So behind you in that too, Governor. But I grew up in Marblehead and went to the Glover Elementary School. And of course it was Glover's regiment that rode Washington across the Delaware. All Marbleheaders, a very racially diverse group, in fact. Marblehead would take anyone. And they fought hard. A lot colder, rainier days than this. Of course, Marblehead taught me that it is the birthplace of the American Navy. The first U.S. Navy ship, the Hannah, was manned out of Marblehead. But as the congressman, I have to acknowledge there is a debate with Beverly where the ship was retrofitted. And this is a controversy that has not yet been settled by a president like Lyndon Johnson. Now I live in Salem, the birthplace of the National Guard, and it has been my honor to represent Newburyport, the birthplace of the Coast Guard. So yes, there is a lot of history here in Massachusetts. But I think when you're growing up with that history, especially when you're young, you look at it as old. It happened a long time ago. It must be old people. Sometimes a lot of old folks show up to parades and historical celebrations. No comment on anything here. But the thing to remember is that so many of those volunteers, those fighters, those warriors who brought us our freedom were very young. Like some of the guys in the front row here. I was reminded of this when I got woken up in the middle of the night in a tent in Kuwait and said, we're going to invade. And after I got my instructions and went to wake up my platoon, my company commander said, oh wait, one more thing, Lieutenant Bolton. These two are with you. And he pointed to two 17-year-olds who had just been flown over to Kuwait, their first day on active duty in the Marine Corps fleet was invading a foreign country. That's what it was like in the early days of this revolution. There were old volunteers, there were young volunteers, but so many on the front lines were very young Americans. And the amazing history of this country is that we have always been a country of volunteers. That's the amazing thing about America. We're not a country that's ever gotten it all right, but we always believed that we might. And it's been up to volunteers to stand up and fight for those freedoms. Now, some would say that Massachusetts is under attack again today, not by a king in England, but by other forces that wish us ill. And so it's an especially important time to remember the governor's message, that it did start here, that we understand those values of freedom, of democracy, of a right to free speech, to say what you believe. Those are fundamentally American values. And so as we commemorate Newburyport's role in the fight for independence, let's also recommit to the work of strengthening that independence in our time, with truth, with leadership, and with service to something greater than ourselves. So thank you to all the volunteers, the historians, the veterans, the men and women on active duty, the musicians, and yes, the young people who made today possible. It's not just a celebration, it's a continuation of the American story. So let's honor it, let's live up to it, and let's carry it forward. Thank you, Newburyport, and happy 250th.
Well, thank you very much, Captain Bob, and I want to congratulate you on debuting the new uniform for board members of the Custom House today, and I look forward to seeing that in the future. You know, it is so great to see all of you coming out to do what is so American, standing in the public square, speaking of what we believe in, and celebrating liberty. It's great to be here, and it's great to see all my shipmates from the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you so much for being here today. And it is true, Bob, last weekend I had the honor of representing my ancestor, Jabez Tarr, who was among the youngest people from Cape Ann to fight at the Battle of Bunker Hill. And I was honored to do that with the Lexington Company of Minutemen. Gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me to have that experience with you. I want to say thanks to the Custom House, to the Museum of Old Newbury, to the city of Newburyport, to everyone that knows how important this is and came out today to commemorate it. Sure, there was a little bit of rain, but does rain really matter when you're celebrating liberty? No. So here we are today, and we think back to those moments in history. We think back to those moments in history when liberty was not a given. Democracy was not a given. Freedom was not a given. And for every step we take along that road to revolution, we think about the brave men and women, the families who with each step they took, moved us closer and closer and closer to being the greatest beacon of freedom the world has ever known. And we remember their sacrifice. We remember those privateers that left this harbor and didn't come back so that freedom could come to shore. We remember those who fell in battle, facing the greatest army that the world had ever known at the time, saying, I will give everything I have so that everything I am will live on. And we celebrate the fact that they triumphed, because liberty and freedom and democracy should always triumph, even when you have to fight for it. And we think about how fortunate we are and how blessed we are to stand here today, all of us as Americans, to stand here today endowed with that blessing of liberty. And we think about the sacrifice that got us here, and we think about the road ahead. And we think about the fact that in 1775, they were on the road to revolution. In 2025, we are on the road to evolution. The road to make this a greater, stronger, more inclusive, more representative, more free United States of America. And to capture that great promise, that was embedded in the Declaration of Independence, that we are all created equal, and that our rights are endowed to each of us. And we think about the fact that the evolution continues. We remember those who fell. We remember those who sacrificed. And we remember our deep moral obligation to be worthy of who they were, what they did, and the opportunity that they created for all of us. Every day the sun rises to go out and make our community, our nation, and our world a better place. Let's remember that today. Let's honor them, because at events like this, we commemorate war, but we celebrate freedom. Now, in those days that we remember today, when they were enthusiastic about something, they said, "Huzzah!" So I'm going to give us a chance to do that 3 times. Are you with me? Yep. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! May God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Bob. And thank you to my friends and inspiring colleagues in government. So today, we're reminded that our city helped start an American Revolution grounded in political dissent. I say that spark never died. Every day, we walk the same paths of people who, at great personal risk and over many generations, fought for what was right. Our abolitionists refused to retreat a single inch. Our suffragists were revolutionaries. Our visionary generation returned from a world war and rebuilt this city. Our preservationists defied the bulldozers of the 70s. Our modern-day trailblazers brought Afghani refugees fleeing war and made them our neighbors. Massachusetts has been fertile ground for a radical idea that we can make this nation better. So may we as Newburyporters always be in that vanguard. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I am so proud of us. We've made it almost to the end of the people talking. And I hate to stand between anyone and lunch, so I'm going to make it pretty quick. I am so grateful to all of you for coming out, to all of you for coming out on this day to celebrate this incredible community, past and present. Extra thanks to Governor Healey and the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism for your support of our full season of programs that focused our attention and energy on the crucial role that this community played on the road to, and soon we'll be talking about through, the revolution. To our partners in this endeavor, most notably, of course, the Custom House Maritime Museum, our board, our staff, our volunteers, thank you so much. Thank you, Bob, James. And I have to say, in the spirit of true diversity, 2 of our interns are actually in His Majesty's Regiment of Foot, and the rest are wearing colonial garb. So there you go. We're an inclusive group here. Many of you are aware of Governor Healey's, we've made you aware of Governor Healey's Newburyport roots. You are, in fact, my 5th cousin, as you may know. I think I have the award for Mrs. Inbred County of Newburyport. I am descended from 52 of the first settlers, many of them many times over. Don't do that math. But I'm also here to tell you that Congressman Moulton, you are my 10th cousin. Your ancestor stayed in Salisbury, but his brother came to Newburyport and is buried at the Sawyer Hill Burying Ground. I would be happy to introduce you. And while we're here, Kate Fox and I are also 10th cousins. She is descended from Nicholas Noyes, allegedly the first gentleman who jumped off the boat in 1635. So we're both descended from Nicholas Noyes. And I have a feeling that Jabez Carr is somewhere up in my family tree, and I will be proving or disproving that when I get back to the office. Some of us define our communities by our family ties. Some of us define it by friends, neighbors, necessity, and safety. I'm convinced that however we all got here, this community is the center of the universe. Am I right? It certainly is the center of my universe. You are all the center of my universe. It was central to the American Revolution as well. Since February, we have centered Newburyport in the complicated early months of 1775, and we have struck a chord. Thousands of you have come out to in-person lectures, walking tours, burying ground strolls, which are my favorite thing in the whole world. I invite you all to come walk through some burying grounds with me. And Glee, we have so much fun. While tens of thousands more of you have watched videos, responded online, come to visit museums, etc. If I can leave you with a final thought, it is this. In 1775, when Newburyporters were gathering right here in the spot where you're standing, nobody knew how this was going to turn out. Think about that. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. What they did was pull together. These communities shared information, weapons, food, and encouragement. The Museum of Old Newbury has an incredible archive. Among that archive are papers where towns are writing back and forth to each other saying, we have gunpowder, do you have cannonballs? We have sheep to feed soldiers, do you have wool? This is an incredible amount of exchange and information and mutual support. So let us continue that tradition. We are all of us better together. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for coming out, and go have lunch.